Australia, 1961. A car, two bodies. No gun, no answers. Imagine this. It's a crisp morning in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales, Australia, 1961. A young couple stumbles upon a parked car on a secluded bush track. Imagine this. It's a crisp morning in the Blue Mountains of New South Wales, Australia, 1961. A young couple stumbles upon a parked car on a secluded bush track. Inside, two people, lifeless, slumped over. Blood everywhere. But here's the twist that defies logic. Both victims of gunshot wounds, yet there's no weapon in sight. No bolechicazinhos, no fingir prints, no obvio os motivi. And get this, the car door is locked from the inside. How did the killer, or killers, escape? Was it murder, suicide, or something otherworldly? Welcome to the Bogle Chandler mystery, Australia's most baffling double death that even science can't fully explain. I'm your narrator's name, and in this video, we'll dive deep into a case that has haunted investigators, armchair detectives, and true crime enthusiasts for over 6 decades. It's not just a whodunit. It's a riddle wrapped in enigma, where facts clash with impossibilities, and the truth remains as elusive as a ghost in the mist. Let's set the scene. On January 1st, 1961, New Year's Day, a day meant for fresh starts and resolutions. Two Sydney teenagers, Jeffrey and Pauline McDonald, decided to take a scenic drive to the Blue Mountains. These weren't just any mountains. They're a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a labyrinth of eucalyptus forests, sheer cliffs, and hidden valleys that have inspired artists and adventurers alike. The McDonalds, both 19, were on a romantic outing, perhaps escaping the hustle of city life. As they ventured down a narrow dirt track near the town of Wentworth Falls, they spotted something odd, a blue Holden station wagon, parked awkwardly off the path, its windows fogged up like it had been there for hours. Curiosity piqued. Jeffrey approached the vehicle. What he saw inside would scar him for life. In the front seats were two bodies, a man and a woman, both in their 30s, dressed in casual attire. The man was slumped against the driver's door, a bullet wound to his temple. The woman lay across the passenger seat, shot in the head as well. Blood had pooled on the floor, and the air was thick with the metallic scent of death. But the real shock? The car keys were in the ignition, the doors locked, and no sign of a gun anywhere, not under the seats, not in the boot, not tossed into the bush. It was as if the weapon had vanished into thin air. The McDonalds, terrified, raced back to town to alert the police. By the time authorities arrived, the scene was preserved. The victims were identified as a 46-year-old accountant from Sydney and a 32-year-old divorcee and mother of 2. They weren't strangers. The accountant was the divorcee's boss at a local firm, and rumors swirled about a possible affair. But why here in this remote spot? And how could two people be shot in a locked car without the killer leaving a trace? Initial police reports painted a grim picture. The accountant having been shot with a .22 caliber bullet, the divorcee with a .32, different calibers suggesting 2 guns, or one killer with multiple weapons. Autopsies revealed both died from gunshot wounds to the head, but the timing was off. Bogle's death was estimated around 10 p.m. the night before, Chandler's perhaps hours later. Had she witnessed his death and taken her own life? Or was she murdered afterward? The coroner ruled it a double suicide, but skeptics cried foul. How did they shoot themselves in confined space without powder burns or the gun being found? And why lock the doors from the inside? As news spread, the case exploded in the media. Headlines screamed locked car mystery and Blue Mountains enigma. Experts weighed in, ballistic specialists, forensic pathologists, even psychologists. The Blue Mountains are notorious for their dense fog and treacherous terrain, perfect for hiding secrets. Was it a lover's pact gone wrong? A botched robbery? Or something more sinister, like espionage or a cover-up? One theory posited that Bogle killed Chandler, then himself, tossing the gun out the window before locking the door, impossible in a car without power windows. Another suggested a third party, but how did they exit undetected? This isn't just a cold case. It's a puzzle that challenges our understanding of crime and evidence. In the 1960s, forensic science was advancing, but not enough to crack this. DNA testing? Non-existent. CCTV? A dream. Yet, even today with modern tech, the Bogle Chandler mystery endures. It's a reminder that some truths slip through the cracks of logic. In Part 2, we'll explore the lives of Bogle and Chandler. Who were they really? What secrets did they hide? Stay tuned, because this story is about to get personal. End of Part 1. Visuals fade to black with teaser text. Who were the victims? Part 2 coming up. Music fades out. Now that we've set the stage with the shocking discovery, let's humanize this mystery. Gilbert, Bogle, and Margaret Chandler weren't just names in a police report. They were real people with families, ambitions, and hidden lives. Understanding them is key to unraveling why they ended up in that locked car on a foggy mountain track. Who were they? What drove them to that fateful spot? And could their personal stories hold the key to the enigma? Gilbert Stanley Bogle, born in 1914 in Sydney, was a quintessential mid-century Australian man. Tall, bespectacled, and unassuming, he worked as an accountant at a firm called Chandler & Company. Ironic, given the name. Bogle was married to a woman named Nancy, and they had 3 children. On the surface, he seemed stable, a churchgoer, a Rotarian, a man who enjoyed golf and family picnics. But beneath that facade, whispers of discontent. His marriage was reportedly strained. Nancy described him as distant, preoccupied. Friends recalled Bogle as charming but secretive, often disappearing for business trips that lasted longer than expected. Enter Margaret Olive Chandler, 32, a striking woman. A striking woman with a complicated past. Born in 1928, she was a divorcee with 2 young daughters, living in a modest Sydney suburb. Her ex-husband, a man named Chandler. Yes, the same surname as her maiden name, coincidence? Had left her for another woman, leaving her to juggle motherhood and work. She joined Bogle's firm as a secretary. And soon, rumors of an affair began to circulate. Colleagues noticed their late nights at the office, the lingering glances. Was it romance? Or something more transactional? Chandler was known for her wit and independence, but she struggled financially. Bogle, with a steady income, might have been a lifeline or a temptation. Their relationship, if it existed, was shrouded in secrecy. In 1960s Australia, affairs were taboo, especially for a married man and a single mother. Did they meet in that car for a clandestine rendezvous? Police found no love letters or explicit evidence, but circumstantial clues pointed to intimacy. A neighbor reported seeing Bogle's car at Chandler's house late at night. Chandler's diary, discovered later, hinted at emotional turmoil, entries about unbearable pressure and a man who promises the world. Was Bogle her savior or her downfall? Delving deeper, their lives intersected in unexpected ways. Bogle had a history of mental health issues, depression, perhaps exacerbated by work stress. He consulted doctors about nervous breakdowns. Chandler, too, had her demons, post-divorce loneliness, financial woes, and the stigma of being a working mother. One theory suggests they were planning to run away together, but something went horribly wrong. Another posits blackmail or a business scandal at the firm. Bogle handled accounts for shady clients, including rumored ties to organized crime or even Cold War espionage. Australia was on edge during the era of McCarthyism echoes. But let's not forget the human element. Chandler's daughters, aged 8 and 10, were left motherless. They remembered her as loving but absent, always at work. Bogle's wife Nancy spoke of his kindness, yet admitted he was a man of many faces. Interviews with friends paint a picture of 2 souls adrift. Bogle seeking escape from marital monotony, Chandler chasing stability. Did their affair turn toxic? Was there jealousy, betrayal? Psychologists today might diagnose Bogle with bipolar disorder or Chandler with anxiety, but back then, Mental health was stigmatized. Could this have led to suicide pact? The locked car suggests it, but the missing gun screams otherwise. Imagine the scene. Fog rolling in, tensions high, a heated argument escalating to violence. Bogle shoots Chandler, then himself, but how does the gun disappear? Unless it was thrown out, but the doors were locked. Their final hours remain a blur. On a snowy December 31st in 1960, Bogle and Chandler leave Sydney separately, meeting at a pub before heading to the mountains. Witnesses see them laughing, seemingly carefree, as patrons in the background enjoy their New Year's Eve celebration. What changed? A fight over money? A revelation about Bogle's marriage? Or external forces? A stalker, a hitman? This part of the story reminds us that mysteries aren't just about evidence. They're about people. Bogle and Chandler's lives were ordinary yet fraught with secrets. Bogle and Chandler's lives were ordinary yet fraught with secrets, mirroring complexities of human relationships, their connections and actions affecting multiple lives. In Part 3, we'll shift gears to the investigation. What did the police uncover, and why did theories multiply like wildfire? This was the end of Part 2. The investigation begins. Part 3 next. With the victims' backstories in mind, let's turn to the heart of the drama, the investigation. When the McDonald's reported the bodies, New South Wales police launched a full-scale probe. Detectives combed the Blue Mountains, interviewed hundreds, and chased leads that led nowhere. What emerged was a web of theories, dead ends, and controversies that only deepened the mystery. How did a seemingly straightforward case become Australia's most baffling unsolved double death? The initial response was swift. Senior Constable Les Kennedy arrived at the scene, securing it before forensics could contaminate it. The car, a 1958 Holden FE station wagon, was towed to Sydney for examination. Ballistics experts confirmed the wounds, Bogle's from a .22, Chandler's from a .32. But no bullets were recovered from the bodies. Odd, as they should have lodged or exited. The coroner, Dr. Kenneth McLean, performed autopsies, noting no defensive wounds, suggesting the victims didn't struggle. Yet, the locked doors baffled everyone. How could a killer enter and exit without unlocking them? Police interviewed the McDonald's, who swore they hadn't touched the car. Searches of surrounding bush yielded nothing. No gun, no footprints in the soft earth, no tire tracks. The fog that night would have obscured visibility, but it couldn't erase evidence. Detectives questioned Bogle's wife and Chandler's family. Nancy Bogle admitted to marital problems but denied knowledge of an affair. Chandler's ex-husband provided an alibi, claiming he was with his new family. Colleagues at the firm spoke of tension but no overt hostility. Rumors of foul play intensified. One suspect was a mysterious man seen near the car, a bushman in a hat, reported by a hiker. Was he the killer? Police sketches circulated, but no match. Another lead. Bogle's financial records showed irregularities, possibly embezzlement. Had he been blackmailed? Chandler's diary mentioned threats, fueling speculation of a business rival or jealous lover. The investigation spanned months, involving over 200 officers. They drained a nearby dam, searched caves, and even used dogs. Nothing. Public interest exploded. Tip lines jammed. Theories proliferated. Double suicide via a hidden gun mechanism? Impossible. Murder-suicide with the gun hidden in the car's frame? Dismantled. It revealed no such thing. Exotic ideas emerged. Poison gas from the exhaust? But autopsies showed no toxins. Or a third party who locked the door from outside. But how without keys? Controversy arose when the coroner initially ruled suicide, but public outcry led to an inquest. Witnesses testified to Bogle's depression and Chandler's woes. Yet, skeptics pointed to inconsistencies, the different bullet calibers, the lack of powder burns, indicating shots from afar, and the car's position, parked, not crashed. One detective theorized a perfect crime by a professional assassin, perhaps linked to Bogle's rumored espionage ties. American criminologists offered input, suggesting hypnosis or stage scenes. But nothing stuck. By 1962, the file was closed as undetermined, a rare verdict that frustrated all. Limited tech, no DNA, no digital forensics. But also, the Blue Mountains isolation played a role. Evidence could vanish in the wilderness. Human error? Perhaps. Or was there a cover-up? Conspiracy theorists claim the victims knew too much about government secrets. This investigation wasn't just about clues. It was a battle against the unknown. In Part 4, we'll explore the scientific angle. Why couldn't experts explain it, and what modern science reveals? Part 4, the science that couldn't explain, approximate, 1,000 words. Transition, eerie scientific music. Graphics of bullet trajectories, forensic diagrams, and lab equipment. We've covered the discovery, the lives, and the investigation. And Part 3, visuals, archival footage of detectives. Teaser, science versus mystery. Part 4 ahead. Now, the crux. Why does the Bogle-Chandler mystery defy scientific explanation? In an age of DNA, ballistics, and AI, this 1961 case still stumps experts. Let's break it down scientifically, what we know, what we don't, and why it remains a riddle. First, the wounds. Bogle's .22 caliber bullet entered his right temple, exiting the left with minimal damage, suggesting a small gun at close range. Chandler's .32 entered her left temple, lodging in her brain. No exit wound, no casings found. Ballistic science tells us guns leave traces. Powder burns residue. Here, none on the victim's hands or faces. That implies the shots weren't self-inflicted. The gun was held away, perhaps by another person. But in a locked car? Impossible without the shooter inside. Forensic pathology adds layers. Autopsy showed no struggle, no drugs or alcohol beyond moderate levels. Death times. Bogle around 10 p.m., Chandler later, possibly 2 to 4 a.m. Decomposition was minimal, consistent with the cool mountain air. But here's the anomaly, the locked doors. Modern lockpicking experts say it's doable, but not silently or without tools. No scratches on the locks. Could the doors have locked automatically? Holdings of that era had manual locks, no auto-lock feature. Scientific theories abound. 1. Suicide with a trick gun, a device that fires and ejects the weapon. But no such tech existed then, and none was found. Another, carbon monoxide poisoning from the exhaust, followed by shots to stage suicide. Tests showed low CO levels, not fatal. Or perhaps a rare exploding bullet that vaporized a gun. Unlikely, as residue would remain. Enter modern science. In 2011, a documentary revisited the case, exhuming theories with new tools. DNA from the car? Contaminated after decades. Bullet fragments? None. Computer simulations of the scene show fog could hide a killer, but not erase a gun. Psychologists suggest folie à deux, a shared delusion leading to mutual suicide. But the evidence doesn't fit. Why can't science explain it? The locked room paradox defies physics. Matter can't pass through locked doors. Unless paranormal? Some speculate ghosts or aliens, but that's pseudoscience. More rationally, perhaps a misidentification. Were the deaths really gunshots? X-rays confirm bullets, but maybe staged with pre-existing wounds? No. The mystery highlights science's limits in 1961. No mass spectrometry for residue. No GPS for alibis. Today, we'd scan for fingerprints, analyze soil for traces. But even now, the gun's absence is inexplicable. Theories included being buried or thrown into a ravine, but searches found nothing. This case challenges forensic science. It shows how assumptions can blind us. Coroners assumed suicide. Detectives assumed murder. But what if it's neither? A unique accident? Or a hoax? The McDonald's story held up, but could they have been involved? Unlikely. In essence, the Bogle-Chandler mystery proves science thrives on evidence, and here it's lacking. It's a black hole in logic. In Part 5, we'll wrap up with its legacy and why it endures. Part 5, Legacy and Unsolved Enigma, approximate 1,000 words. Transition, reflective, haunting music fades in. Montage of modern Australia. Bustling Sydney streets, Blue Mountains tourism ads, true crime podcasts, and archival footage of 1960s newsreels. Text on screen. Over 60 years later, the mystery lives on. As we reach the end of our deep dive into the Bogle Chandler mystery, let's step back and ponder its lasting legacy. This isn't just a footnote in Australian crime history. It's a cultural phenomenon that has inspired books, documentaries, and endless speculation. Over 6 decades later, the locked car, the missing gun, and the unanswered questions continue to captivate minds worldwide. Why? Because it's not just a puzzle. It's a mirror reflecting our fascination with the unknown, the limits of human ingenuity, and the eerie possibility that some truths are forever out of reach. First, the cultural impact. In the 1960s, the case exploded across headlines, becoming a national obsession. Australians, still reeling from post-war changes, saw it as a symbol of hidden dangers in their idyllic landscape. Books like The Bogle Chandler Mystery by journalist Colin Wilson, published in 1961, dissected the evidence, popularizing theories of espionage and the supernatural. Television specials followed, turning it into folklore. Today, it's featured in true crime podcasts like Australian True Crime and Netflix-style docs, drawing millions of views. The Blue Mountains, once a serene getaway, now markets mystery tours of the site. Visitors snap photos at the spot where the car was found, hoping to feel the chill of the unexplained. But the legacy extends beyond entertainment. It challenged forensic science, pushing advancements in Australia. The case highlighted gaps in 1960s policing, no standardized evidence collection, reliance on intuition over data. Modern investigators cite it as a what-not-to-do example, emphasizing chain of custody and tech like 3D crime scene reconstruction. In 2011, a Channel 7 documentary used CGI to simulate the scene, concluding the gun could have been tossed into dense bush, yet no one found it. DNA reanalysis of the car in 2020 revealed nothing new, but it sparked renewed interest. The mystery even influenced fiction. Novels and films echo its locked room trope. From Agatha Christie to modern thrillers. Why does it endure? Psychologically, it's a Rorschach test for human curiosity. For skeptics, it's proof of investigative failure, perhaps a cover-up by corrupt officials or a botched suicide staged as murder. Conspiracy buffs link it to Cold War intrigues. Bogle's firm allegedly handled accounts for defense contractors. And Chandler's ex-husband had military ties. One fringe theory. They stumbled upon a secret government test site in the mountains, silenced for national security. Others whisper the paranormal, ghostly figures in the fog, or even alien involvement, though that's dismissed by rationalists. Yet, the most compelling aspect is its defiance of closure. Families of the victims still seek answers. Bogle's descendants have petitioned for case reopenings, while Chandler's daughters, now elderly, share memories of a mother lost to shadows. The McDonalds, the original discoverers, live with the way of their find. Jeffrey passed away in 2018, still haunted by the image. Society grapples with it too, in an era of surveillance and AI. How can such a mystery persist? The truth remains elusive, a distant mirage on the horizon, as the mystery continues to unfold, refusing to be solved. It reminds us that not every question has an answer, and some enigmas enrich our world by staying unsolved. Scientifically, it underscores evolution. Today's tools, LiDAR scans of the mountains, isotope analysis of bullets, could reveal hidden clues, like a gun buried in a ravine. But funding is scarce for cold cases. Experts like forensic pathologist Dr. Sarah Parsons argue for a fresh autopsy review, citing advances in wound ballistics. The different calibers suggest premeditation, but the locked car? It's a paradox that physics can't fully resolve without assuming human error. Culturally, it's a cautionary tale. In a digital age, Where every crime is solved via social media, Bogle Chandler humbles us. It warns against jumping conclusions. Early assumptions of suicide blinded investigators to possibilities. For true crime fans, it's a beacon. Proof that mysteries fuel imagination, from amateur sleuths on Reddit to professional podcasters. As we wrap up, imagine returning to that foggy track. The car is gone, towed away long ago, but the air feels charged. What really happened that New Year's Eve? A tragic pact? A calculated kill? Or something science can't yet quantify? The Bogle Chandler mystery isn't solved, and perhaps it never will be. But in its unsolved state, it teaches us. Some stories don't end. They evolve, inspiring us to question, explore, and wonder. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you've got theories or thoughts, drop them in the comments. And remember, in the world of true crime, the greatest mysteries are the ones that keep us coming back. Until next time, stay curious. And to part 5. Visuals. Music crescendos to a thoughtful close. The